Well, hello everybody. We're back for our first devotion in this quarantine time that we will hope will continue on long after. It is interesting that sometimes we require a mighty hand to do something different. We've wanted to be doing devotionals like this, video-wise, for quite some time, and now we're just giving a little extra push. But as we do that, so today we are going to be continuing in Mark chapter 5. I'm only going to be bringing up a couple points out of these few verses here today, and we'll pick it up throughout the rest of the week. But you should be reading in your Bible, Mark chapter 5. It is the story of Jesus healing the demon-possessed man who was super strong. I'll give you a quick Cole's Notes version of it, is that as Jesus crossed the lake from where he had been doing his teaching, he calmed the storm in the lake that night. The next morning they arrive on the scene on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. There they find a man who is demon-possessed by many thousands of demons, given by his name called Legion, which can mean anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 Roman soldiers. We believe that's an indication of just how many spirits was in this man. It made him super strong that no one could even chain him because he would break them. He would cut himself and he would cry out. This was a very difficult time in this man's life, and he was harassed greatly. So as Jesus approaches him, Jesus heals him, casts out those demons. The demons speak and they say that they didn't want to be tortured, meaning they didn't want to be thrown into hell early, so they ask permission to go into a herd of pigs that were nearby. That has confused a lot of people in today's day and age, thinking like, I don't understand what it means to, why couldn't Jesus just throw them into hell now? Why did he let them go? We'll answer those questions in the days ahead. But what I'd really like to point out to is pigs were an unclean food. You were not supposed to have pigs in Israel in those days. Now, even though this is on the borderland of Israel, Jesus was still there, and by him allowing the spirits to go into the herd of pigs and to have them run down the steep bank and then die in the water, that he was kind of getting a point across as well too, that these people were making money off of ill-gotten gain, things that they should not have done. And they asked Jesus to leave the area, even though he just performed a wonderful miracle of healing. But what ended up happening was they didn't like that. And how true is it for us today? So my first point for today is, do we not like the way that Jesus teaches or does things because we have our own minds made up and we don't really care? So the first thing we need to do is always make sure that our expectations matches Jesus. And so as they did that, they learned that lesson the hard way, that they shouldn't have been doing that kind of employment. And that would have been a huge thing for them too. That would have been the equivalent of a couple $100,000 today to lose 2,000 pigs. Someone can find out what the market rate is for a hog nowadays and do the math for me. You can stick that in the comments section if you were so inclined to do so. So this man was healed. Here's another interesting thing, the second point with that observation that we're seeing, is the man that was healed wanted to follow Jesus and keep going with him. But Jesus said, no, I want you to stay here amongst your relatives and be a witness for God, because they needed that witness. So Jesus knew he had many more places to go, but he really wanted to make sure that the place that he left with was left with a witness. And I think that is wonderful, because the people were amazed that this man, who in their eyes was demon-possessed and crazy, and well, he was demon-possessed, was healed, clothed, and sitting in his right mind in the town that he was from. And that every time people would lay their eyes on him, it would be a constant reminder that our God heals, our God cares, and our God does have power over every authority here on the earth. And so though we may fear about what may happen to us by a little virus or whatever government actions are going to take or not take, and we're wondering what our livelihoods will be like, we need to realize that we have a God who is in far more control than we could ever ask or imagine, and that we know that he is a good God and looking after us. God bless you. We're going to keep reading in Mark chapter 5. We're going to pick this up in the days ahead, and feel free to share this with family and friends and have your devotions around your dinner table or your coffee table. God bless. Have a good day.